the Indian gaming industry, folks. Of course, Walt Disney bought over, and then he was the managing director of the Walt Disney Digital Organization. And what's incredible is that he was listed amongst the 50 top executives from the UK-based magazine called Mobile Entertainment, standing alongside Steve Jobs. Not just that, GoKey is his newest venture, which is going to be launched very shortly, sometime by the end of November. And all of us are really, really looking forward to it because it's a fitness bandwidth mobile app and so on and so forth. And what's really, really incredible is FAU-G, which is Fearless and United Guards, the game that's going to be kicking every game's back in the world. And that's something that we really are looking forward to. It's going to be released really soon. That's being worked on by an organization right here in Bangalore called nCore Games. And what's even more amazing is that Akshay Kumar and VISHAL together have decided to invest 20% of their net revenues towards Bharat Ki Veer Trust. Now that's really, really incredible. So I mean, I can just go on and on about VISHAL. Then let me just, because we're running short of time. Right up after that is Shreyas, my buddy, who he has founded Insider, Paytm Insider. It's a platform to discover the best of events, travel, and food around you. I mean, that's a culmination of everything that we all need as human beings. What's even more amazing is that they've, during the COVID period, while it is supposedly looked at as a disruptor, they've taken advantage of it and created some incredible IPs called front and center, private parties, shout outs, and so on and so forth. And I think I'm going to get him to talk about it because you've got artists who are going to come and personally speak with you in your living rooms, who will give you messages. You've got, you can watch theater, and you've got Hunger Incorporated, where, they'll be giving, curating food and so on and so forth. And of course, Ghar Se Museum, sitting in your homes and the comfort of your homes, you're going to be able to visit museums all over and much, much more. I'm sure there's a lot that he's going to be able to tell us. And of course, we've also got Santosh. Most importantly, just to say, Santosh is an amazing person that I've met with recently. Some of the most stellar stuff that he's done, right? He's really savvy. Number one is Mercedes has, despite the whole pandemic, have sold the highest number of luxury vehicles in the country. And he has been the reason for it, not just from a marketing perspective, from a customer service perspective. He has done, just a sec. I mean, I've got to sort of take a look at his stellar sort of, resume. I mean, he's been part of, sorry about that. Marketing, sales, retail, customer services, CSR initiatives, and so on. And he's been the reason for the luxury drive that, again, live that happens from an events perspective, which again combines energetic music, gourmet delicacies, and stylish cars. I mean, who wouldn't want these three things together? So I'll let him talk about what he's going to be doing, what he has been doing. Of course, the Mercedes trophy that everybody has heard of. The winner goes to Stuttgart to compete against the best in the world. They've done some brand tours. They've done some pop-up stores. I mean, there's tons that I can talk about. Now, I don't want to take too much of time in their introductions, but Nani again, back to Nani. She's such an amazing person and professional from an experiential point of view. She's extremely passionate about music, and music is something that she's really, really passionate about, and because of it, she started showcase events. And before that, she has been part of an amazing initiative from the Genesis Foundation, where they used to raise funds for the critically ill, underprivileged children. She has done events galore all over and raised some incredible amounts of money. And of course, with the Showcase Studio, they're bringing artists closer to the consumers, to their fans, and having talk shows, etc. So there's a lot that these people have together collectively, which is the reason I say it's an explosive session, because you've got gaming on one side, you've got experiences on the other side, you've got luxury brand from another side, and you've got ticketing platform on another. So imagine the four of them coming together, what they could be doing. So let's get fired right away. Vishal, I'd love to sort of begin with you. You started right at the age of 16, but what I really think, like Brian rightly said, this isn't about technology versus content. It is technology and content, because they need to complement each other, because physical events are here to stay forever. People are never going to stop touching, feeling, and smelling entertainment. But I believe that technology only complements it? And how best do you see this happening, most importantly? And secondly, it also needs to be engaging, because when people talk tech, we can talk about everything that you can do technologically that people can see, but are they really able to feel the wind in their faces when they're driving a car? I mean, those are things that you really don't get to experience with just tech. While you can simulate these things. So how has it really been for you from a gaming perspective? Has it really enhanced things, or has it not? So can you just take us through a bit of your perspective?
We all talk about the most scarce commodity being people's attention.
Yeah,
And in a physical event, you have the people captive, and their entire attention is 100% immersed into the event. And
right.
that is a very, very different scenario. What you are all facing today is what we are at the gaming industry talk about all the time, which is
Mm,
people's attention now is going smaller and smaller. And at any given point of time, there are a million events happening parallelly. And the consumer always has an option to see a video recording of it. So the question really goes back to that: what is it that you are going to give somebody at a live event for them to pay money for, which they cannot get later, or which may not even be of interest to them? And which is where
yeah,
the gaming industry cracked it much earlier. So we talked about
yeah,
what is called the freemium model, where the entire content is free. What you are really monetizing is engagement. And within that, we talk about three major categories. We call what is called hyper casual games, where people would spend 3 to 5 minutes. We talk about mid core games, where you may end up spending 10 to 15 minutes. And hardcore games, which are largely console based games, where you would
yeah,
spend hours playing a game, but then the audience for that is very, very small. And if you really map that back to the entertainment events or the live business, you go back to the same thing where, of course, there are going to be people wanting to come and see all the big stars, and whether it is the big movie stars or the big rock stars performing. But that's a very small segment. The
yeah.
larger part of the segment of events, which Insider and all the other guys have listed, I think personally, till you do not start thinking of this as a gaming company or somebody who's looking at actively immersing people, I'm sorry to say, you are not going to get much eyeballs or revenues out of this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you.
And
Yeah, go
yeah,
on. Sorry. Yeah,
and just to talk about technology, see, technology is always going to be one step ahead of what we are all doing.
yeah,
Already we are talking about, one of the things in gaming, we talk about latency all the time and
yeah.
ping rates all the time. This was never a
That's right.
problem because we were never looking at
Yeah,
having simultaneously so many people. But today,
yeah,
a game like Fortnite is where
yeah,
events are happening, because they are right now becoming the virtual stadiums where they have millions of footfalls. They have figured out how to deal with latency and how to deal with, at the core itself, engaging people. So I know I have
yeah,
now seen so many agencies trying to create their own virtual worlds and their own Zoom platforms. And
yeah,
I'm believe me, we are going to have a graveyard of all these companies soon, because they are
yeah,
forgetting the fact that consumers have moved much ahead. A
yeah.
consumer today, I don't know how many of you are into playing games, but right now consumers gaming has India has recorded the highest amount of gaming downloads in the world.
I'm
So
absolutely with
so
you. Yeah,
the gaming community is really moving far ahead. They are actually broadcasting it. But when I see the standard events, for example, now again, no offense to anyone, I now see live events where they're recording people and then showing it on the live event, and I'm like, dude, what is the whole point of doing it? If it is recorded, then what is the point of doing it live?
that's right.
The whole
Yeah,
idea of live is that I and you at the same universal time scale are synchronously connected. That's what gaming is all about. And that is the thrill, that while I am interacting, you are interacting at the same time. But
Yeah.
right now, there are so many events which are pre-recording and broadcasting. And the minute an audience comes to know that this is not live, they
Yeah.
are going to go and,
Feel
switch off
cheated.
and, move ahead. So I think there's a lot to learn. Of course, nobody was prepared for this scenario right now.
Yes.
So I'm sure, a lot of members of the whole entertainment and events industry are going to start learning. But my first
Vishal,
advice to
we
all
are
of
unable to
you is,
hear you.
yeah, my first advice to all of you is please start playing some games.
Absolutely. I'm telling you this, you couldn't have been more right about this because my
A
kids,
good
both of
game
them
to
are
start is Among Us. That's what everybody, we are all playing
exactly.
Among Us right now.
Absolutely. Because my kids and everyone, they're all into games. I need to get them off their devices because that's what the future is all about. And I personally believe, before I move on to the next, set of folks on the panel, I really believe, Vishal, you can add so much value, offline to all of us, the event fraternity, because EMA has done so much as a community for us to be able to sort of decipher these things and sort of really crack the code to ensure that the latency issues and like you rightly said, it's going to be a graveyard of different platforms you're going to be having. And I think we need to really seamlessly, collaboratively figure out how to do these things and take things forward because I know there are event partners, there are event agencies watching this, as well as brand heads who are watching this whole session. And it'll be phenomenal to know this. And it's the right forecast that you've really given us, Vishal. I'm going to come right back to you. But what I wanted to really know is, Santosh, you've done some really stellar work during this whole, this whole season. I personally believe that, COVID is just a small aberration, just like Veerdas said in the earlier, session. We're in the golden time, actually speaking. And if you're not going to be able to sort of take advantage, nothing like it. But the truth is, it's just a small aberration, but then eventually tech and content will go hand in hand and it is not mutually exclusive. So what have you really done? And tell us all about what else brands can really take away from what you've done. Yeah.
Oh, see, there is a very famous saying. It says, "Never let a good crisis go waste." And this is something that our board member and CEO Ola Kalini has also believed in. So
Yeah.
when the crisis struck us, worldwide, because India it came somewhere in March. You can say the peak, whereas it already started surfacing in China as well as in Europe somewhere in the start of the year. We were getting prepared. Of course, the first thing was to take care of the family, community, employees, stakeholders, and
Yeah.
stuff. But then it was clear that we should not let this crisis go as it is. Let's make use of this crisis. And one of the biggest stuff that we all discussed was this is the tipping point for digital transformation. Our dealers
Yeah.
community, our customers, everybody spoke about digital, but they never were ready to take that big leap of faith when it came
Yeah.
to communication, when it came to buying cars, or even experiencing certain events and stuff. So we said this is the time where we can accelerate this transformation and let's seize the opportunity. So we were one of the first to go into the e-commerce platform. So we sold luxury cars online, put them there and even to convince our dealer partners that hey, you have to show your stock transparently, because in online you cannot hide. I think what
Yeah.
Vishal made a point again, similar, that you cannot have a recorded event showing live. Similarly, when it comes to e-commerce or any digital stuff, you cannot, try to have a face in front. So you need to be transparent. You need to show discounts transparently. And this was all a big leap of faith. Frankly, it helped us. This entire crisis helped us to transform our business model, the way we connected digitally. And then came the topic of events, because now when
Mm.
the business came back somewhere in June, July, when the lockdown 1.0, 2.0, 2.5 started, then we said, now we have to launch new cars. And what do we
Yeah.
do?
Mm.
So definitely we went online, we started streaming. But then, if you try to force fit tech, because we had some people trying to show digital launches, trying to do more fancier stuff online. But end of the day, the
Mm.
customer wants to have information on the car. He wants interaction. He wants to understand certain more stuff. So we then bought in
Yeah.
our own consumers. We bought them to our launches. They gave a bit of their insights on owning these cars and what it meant for a new launch for them. So I think some of this was much more able to connect with the media, with also with maybe our customers, and then of course we could
Yeah.
play them online in the digital world, etc. Uh, but having said that, the biggest thing that I have seen is everybody trying to force with tech, events and content and digital. And this is where I think personally I feel this is a big risk, because if you try to just do for the sake of digitizing your stuff, you are missing the consumer here, because you want to, all the pitches, many of the stuff that we see, there is a big rush to go online, digital, trying to get some tech, some RFID, 3D, augmented reality. But does the customer want it? Frankly, and I think Vishal made the point. Some of them have moved ahead actually. When we are discussing about augmented reality and stuff, the kind of stuff available today there is much advanced. And if as a brand we try to brief event agencies, and it starts from the brand, it doesn't start from the event teams. It starts, the brand says, hey, I want augmented reality, and then you get what you can make in 10 days is basically mediocre stuff, which then you start getting exposed to consumers as a short time, and then the brand loses the appeal. So we from Mercedes-Benz has been very careful on this topic. I think for luxury brands, experience matters, and we don't want to give up the space of giving an experience. Way back when this market was close to 3,000, 4,000 cars, and I'm saying about 2010 to 12, we had all the three German brands in India trying to fight market shares and fight. But that's where we thought that, do consumers really know what kind of tech is there in these cars? And that's where we started our luxury platforms of drive events, experiential marketing. Now with this COVID coming, that's a big question for us. What do we do next? Yes, we can do golf. We can also do certain drive events. But on the other hand, there are safety and there are protocols that needs to be followed in these times. So here now, making content which we can give a similar experience in terms of what is in it that a mass market and a luxury cars have in difference, and what kind of those experiences we can give. So even if it means that we reduce number of people, I heard some conversations of people saying 10,000 audiences, we need more people and we need undivided attention. But now I think that the way will be more for personalization. I think the trend will be that you no longer can have 50 people in a room having events and having song, dance, or some entertainment. It will be more personalized. So our entire brief is now shifting to one-on-one, or maybe 1 to 2 or 1 to 5. But gone are the days when we can think, and even in the future, I think consumers won't like to be herded into large places, and especially I'm more in the luxury segment now. I'm not talking about mass market here. So these are some of the changes we are looking at. But I think we have seized the opportunity more for e-commerce today. 18% of our sales happens online. 4 to 5% of our cars are sold pure online to online transactions. This we could never imagine, in a pre-COVID era asset. So that's something, a quick update.
No, thank you so much. One of the things that's happening right now, Santosh, is the event organizations need to shrug that whole thing off about trying to somehow impose technology for the sake of it, because people are far more smarter. Everything has gone way ahead. So it's all about storytelling that event agencies have always done. They need to stick to that and bring in tech only when it's essential and in the manner that it's most suitable. So that's something that they need to really understand, and I think we are on the way to do that. I think our fraternity has kind of learned that really, really quickly. And EMA as a body has kind of really sensitized everybody about the same thing as well. So it's a great thing. And of course, we are also finding it difficult where brands sometimes need to be educated about the limitations and the strengths of these whole tech platforms, etc. But anyway, not for too long. And I think we're going to be moving on. But many congratulations to you for having really sort of killed it as far as the luxury car segment is concerned and having done incredible numbers. So we've done the brand piece, we've done the tech piece, from Vishal, from what he's done, and I'm going to come back to Vishal. I'm really excited to know about what your plans are, and if you really launch. When is the FAU-G happening? Because it's meant to be end November. Is it really on end November? Is it?
We can't give you exact dates yet.
Okay, no worries, no worries. We look forward to that. We'll look forward to that for sure. So most importantly, Shreyas, I mean, look at the kind of leap that you've taken. I mean, at the time at which you've come in and the kind of moves that you've really made and giving everyone a run for their money. And so what really have you done? And has this COVID really sort of given you that time to sit back and go and chill and really sort of have some beers and come up with something so cool? I mean, what have we done in terms of scale? What next? Yeah.
So the first thing I want to say is I've made mistakes. Both Vishal and Santosh said are bad ideas. I think the world is built by people who chase bad ideas because they believe they could do better. There are a few things I've always worked for. When I co-founded NH7 and then we co-founded Insider, there are two things I really care about. One is what I call shared experience, right? If you take it what Vishal was saying, and you look at what happened with the massive multiplayer online games, right? They exploded when games became a shared experience, right? We were talking about Among Us. Among Us became the amazing thing it is because it's a shared experience.
Yes.
And literally, that is the distillation we need to do with events today. Because what's ended up happening is most of the internet, and like I grew up on the internet. I've grown up on the internet, and inside the internet used to be this amazing, magical place where you met people like you. But internet over time has more and more become very isolationist, right? And that is why things like Fortnite and PUBG in a longer period bring people together because of that shared experience.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we need to reflect that with events, right? Events need to become a destination for shared experience. Yeah. The content, everything about technology is at the end of the day to deliver that shared experience.
Yeah.
Right. And the shared experience is very simple. It's discovering other people like you and spending time with your friends which you remember.
Yeah.
And if you can build a product which does those two, I think the format of the content could be a game, could be a movie, could be a pre-recorded video, could be anything, right? But the experience is what you take back, right? So the thing we've been chasing for the last 6 months is this concept of shared experience. We're launching a brand new shared experience platform with Bacardi and H7 Weekender. For the first time, you're going to go to a digital festival where not only are you going to consume content, you're going to meet other people like you. You're going to spend time with your friends in a forum and a sort of a video call which is on top of the content, overlaid well, which is seamless. So it's not just about the content; it's memories you make on top of the content. Right? That's essentially what an event is. The second thing we've really chased is what we call a community. I got into independent music 15 years ago because for a 20-year-old who was selling CDs at that time, what gave me a sense of identity and community was meeting other independent music fans. And today, a lot of event organizers talk about nurturing a community, but we do it for 3 days during the event and 2 weeks before the event. And then we forget about that community. We don't go back to them. We don't talk to them. And this is true for everyone. It's true for brands. We say, hey, we are for people who love jazz, and we never talk to them other than when our event is on. Right?
That's right.
We've now focused on building community tools. Discord is a great example. Discord exists even when games exist. Right? People are playing games, but people have a community on Discord. Right? And we are working on community tools. We've launched season passes for the first time for events. So you could buy a ticket once and every premium event experience is available. So you could build a whole new category of consumers, right? Where literally you nurture communities throughout the year. And then once you nurture those communities, you build really, really good experiences for them to feel like they paid for something valuable, right? And I think we just need to stick to that. As long as we stick to that, I think we'll come out somewhere.
One of the best things you've done is DIY concept where organizers can actually sort of curate their own projects. You've given them open source for people to get in, ticket them, sell them, etc. So I think it's a great thing. But I think what you should be doing is try and see again how you can collaboratively do the same in terms of communities and everything. Like you said already, in terms of shared experiences, how it could be sort of taken through to the entire ecosystem of the event community, which in turn is going to benefit the brands. And I think it'll be great if you could do that. But kudos to you guys for the kind of stuff that you've done. But Nani, before I wrap up, I want to come to, when I say wrap up, the last piece in terms of the golden nugget that we want to take back from each and every one of you. Nani, you've been so passionate about music, classical music and independent music, and you've really been at it. You've even created a beautiful IP at the moment, which has been doing really well. We are taking consumers to the artists, in a very personal manner. But tell me, is it really sustainable? Because end of the day, do sponsors get the bang for the buck? Are you able to monetize what you're doing from an IP perspective? Or is this something that you're doing, is this something here to stay for good? Or are you looking at kind of breaking on through to the other side when things get back to normal? How do you see this happening? How's it panning out?
Okay, thanks for this, Om, and good evening, everyone. What you've asked is a very, very valid question, because what happens, exactly like Shreya said, that he saw an independent artist trying to sell those 20 CDs and he saw the struggle. So today sitting in the market, it is very easy to go to a brand or to a client and say, okay, fine, I've got this fantastic artist. He's got and I'm talking about the virtual space. He's got so many followers on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And like, let's do an event with you for that, right? So of course the brand would be interested because they immediately have that much of viewership. But then what happens to those that don't have that kind of following, given that we all know that you can buy these things, right? That's a separate conversation altogether. But having said that, the point is that what about the artists that don't have that kind of viewership, but there's phenomenal talent, there's fantastic talent. So coming to your question, am I generating grand revenue out of any of this? No. But the only thing that my struggle right now is because everybody is in the same boat. And if as an event person who's so passionate about music, if I can do anything in my small little way to bring them into the visible space onto a platform that I can create and get them onto a platform where there's more visibility for them, and I'm reaching out to brands, I'm reaching out to people, I'm reaching out to contacts, connects through social media and otherwise, at least forget the sponsorship. Sponsorship will happen. Let them come and hear the artist. Let them get the exposure for that artist, because once they know this artist is there, exists, right? And exactly like we've been talking about, this is the golden time. I mean, and this is democracy right now. Everybody is singing within that same space. Sorry, there is...
No, go on. Continue. Please continue. Yeah.
And everybody's performing within that same space. So this is your moment.
Yeah.
So technology has revolutionized a lot of stuff. We know that. You know, things have changed. Our perspectives have changed. The way we look at events has changed altogether. I mean, till about 8 months back, I never thought that we'd be so embedded into technology and we'd be looking things from only this aspect or this perspective. Then coming back to the space of doing them live or doing them pre-recorded. I respect both honestly speaking, I'm with Santosh and Vishal on this. I'm not one for pre-recorded either, for some very stupid reasons, because I feel that the reason why we're doing the event is basically to keep that connect with the audience. And if I have Om performing and I have somebody from the audience asking a question, Om should be able to respond, right? And then that is where that connect comes in. And that is what is going to bring the audience back to say, okay, fine, that particular event, I enjoyed talking to the artist. That is when I say that I'm bringing the artist to your room.
This is where Vishal he's got cracked the code for this. For
Absolutely.
The real genuine interaction live. So that's something we need to get back to him for. And you've got Shreyas, through whom you can showcase some of the most unknown artists through his platform or through take him inside or a book my show. So
I totally respect. I respect absolutely. And I respect pre-recorded totally because of the technology challenges. What do? You know, sometimes, I mean, you can't even have like a puckering kind of a performance. That also then takes away from the entire event. But definitely so, a live is a live. Yes. Please monitor your content. Do not post it out on your social so that people do not have access to it. Treat it like a live event. That's the only thing. I think that's where we can save our industry.
Perfect. So, you know, I was wondering if there is any, thanks so much for, I know we've got a limited 35 minutes in those. So therefore I want to see what we can get out of this session. If there are any questions from the audiences, I shall take it up right now. But otherwise, while, I'm trying to sort that out, what I'd like to ask Vishal and Santosh, Shreyas, as well as you, Nani, is what next? I mean, like, do you really think it's tech versus content? Or do you believe that they need to kind of marry in a manner that is more, engaging and better storytelling? I mean, how do you do this? So, Vishal, starting with you, what do you recommend to brands as well as event managers? What do you think?
So I think the problem right now is people are thinking this completely wrong. You're thinking it from the perspective of the event company and the brand, saying, I used to do events, now events are not happening, so what do I do? And which is why I'll do it live. But you need to think it from a customer's perspective. What is the customer wanting? And the problem for the user is that there are so many events happening. My kids are learning on the side in the school. Maybe I'm cutting vegetables on my own. I don't have the best equipment from laptop or music to experience that kind of sound and acoustics. And if you ask me, I would want a bot of mine who could simultaneously attend all events which are happening and then just tell me what were the good things in these events, right? So the bottom line is that I think people need to wear the consumer's hat and think about it. I think right now we are all thinking that, okay, this is my problem and this is what my solution is. And then we are saying, why are people not adopting it? It's
Brilliant.
because consumers have moved ahead. They are all, like I said, they are all on newer platforms. Shreyas was talking about Discord. Discord is actually the future of social networking, and that's where all the excitement is happening right now. So you need to create Discord bots for your
Yeah.
companies rather than figuring out how do you stream yourself on Zoom or YouTube.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Super. That's a super input for all of us, and I think it's great when the customers hack, and of course, go on to move on to newer things and not. Yeah, perfect. What about you, sir, Santosh? What do you have to say as a wrap up? What could be my golden nuggets that I can take back?
No, I would again say that don't pitch tech versus content. I think firstly, we want content. Tech is just a medium. So we should not get so obsessed with the medium. We should be more focused on the content because if the content is good and you are able to deliver it via tech, via personally, via digitally, as a combination of both, it works. So it's don't get so obsessed with digitalization or tech. I think that's just a medium, and that we need to understand that. Of course, it will play a very dominant role in what we do, but the starting point has to be coming from the content, and then of course how you deploy it.
Super, perfect, and thank you so much for that one. And it's just an enabler, not really the content is the king. And Shreyas, what do you have to really say as a wrap up to the whole thing? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah. It was accidental. I don't think there's any difference between tech and content.
Yeah.
People forget that 10 years ago, the height of tech was the audio mixer, which created the content. It's all in our heads. We want to name something we don't understand as like a challenge we want to scale. I go back to the consumer. What will somebody enjoy? What will somebody pay for? If I can provide that to them, and I enjoy providing that to them, that's fruitful for my life and theirs, right? So that's it. That's all we need to care about.
So one quick question to you, Shreyas, is: do you think large venues that people are sort of building, like international facilities, will it still be relevant?
100%.
It still will be relevant.
100%. See, we just need to go past the hump of getting a vaccine, right? I think there's going to be revenge buying happening. There is going to be the need for human connections not going to go away till tactile feedback comes into some of the equipment we wear. Once that happens, then all bets are off, right? But I think large venues are safe for 5, 6, 10 years maybe, but who knows, man? Beyond that, nobody knows. But I think the genuine need for human connection as an alternative to anything tech can provide, right? Or as an additive. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not like we've realized that with social media, we've not gotten more social because of social media, right? We are all as social as we used to be. It's just that we use social media for something else. So it's not really a zero-sum game, and we should stop looking at it that way.
Perfect. Got it. Done. And Nani, anything that you got to say? Because I think we're running out of time. And
yes, I definitely want to add to one thing as event people when we are talking about storytelling. And I think really, like Gaurav had initially in one of the earlier sessions said, a very solid thing to say, it's not just about storytelling, it's now about story living. So we have to use technology to our advantage, and absolutely agree with you, Vishal, that it is about the consumer at the end of the day. So if we are not able to present the right thing to the consumer, it doesn't matter. It's not a win-win for the brand or for the agency either ways. So as an agency, that's our focus. We have to be totally hand in hand. The content is very, very important, but then so is the right technology that can enhance that content and take it to the next level. I really think that's so both of them need to marry and have the right marriage. That's the most important.
Perfect. Lovely. I think we've got, the reason I said it's an explosive session is for the same reason. I mean, look at the kind of panelists that we've got, and I think we've got answers from every sphere of our existence. And so thank you so much to all of you. Santosh and Shreyas, Vishal and Nani, thank you for your patience. We've got the next section coming up. Can't wait to jump into the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's lovely talking to you all.
Thank you.